Got a little Maroon 5 here. This is one of my favorites, Adam Levine. If this ever were to get to him, please come see me. I love you. But I love the song. This is Maroon 5 Memory. And I encourage you to check out the lyrics to this song because they're really nice. It's about memories. It's about missing the people that we love, whether they passed on or they're just not with us in the moment. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, so I'm hoping we're gonna have fun today. Everybody hurts sometimes. Everybody hurts someday. Love that song. Okay, so good morning, Jasmine. You're here with me. You're such a sweetie, so that I'm not all alone. Thank you for being the first one here. And I am excited. Oh my gosh, I have lots of notes for today, so I hope this doesn't go too long. But I want to encourage everyone who's watching this either live or on the replay to feel free to comment because I really want this to be, originally I called this Conversations with Catherine, because I really want it to be a conversation. Good morning, Jasmine. So welcome to How Loss Affects Us. And I use the term us and how loss affects us because we're all affected by loss in one way or another. And specifically today, I'm talking about missing what's familiar, because I think we're all kind of missing what's familiar in the world. And whether it be, just what we're used to, what we're accustomed to, or maybe missing some of the people that we've lost, people that we love, we're going to dive in. And we're going to look at who and what we're missing. We're going to talk about the constant reminders if there's things that you're missing that you wish you had. And then we're going to talk about what we can do about it. So if you're here and watching, please make sure you comment. Let me know that you're here. I really do want to hear from you. This is very, I want this to be a bit of a conversation if we can get a conversation going. So anything that you feel like you need to comment on, anything that touches your heart, that makes you reflect, please let me know, because likely if it's something that's touching your heart, it's likely going to be touching someone else's heart as well. And the conversation today is missing what's familiar and creating that sense of familiarity, right? Because we're missing all of that right now. Let's see. So if you are watching, let me know what city you're watching from. I want to get a sense for where viewers are from. So please just give a shout out to your city in the comments below. And so we're talking about missing what's familiar. And we're all missing so much that's familiar right now because we've all been stuck in our homes. And we're all been affected by the pandemic. And hopefully, because of that, you've had some more time to sort of reflect on your life, to reflect on things that are going well, things that aren't going so well. We've all been doing that. And we've been isolating ourselves in a lot of ways from other people. And there's things that we miss. So things like sharing a cocktail with a girlfriend, or going out to dinner, right? Simple things like going out to dinner or going to the movies, or just, I really miss myself, just kind of wandering around stores when I had some extra time. Going to a store like a TJ Maxx or a Marshall's, where you never really know what you're going to see, what you're going to find. For me, it's very meditative. And when I can do that by myself, which is a rare occurrence, but when I can do that by myself, I really do enjoy it. So let me know what you're missing. What are you missing most about being stuck inside? What's What's something that you wish you could do today, or maybe the first thing that you're going to do when you're able to? So put some comments in there. Let me know what that is. And let's see. There's so much that has changed. And for many of us, you know, our work has changed. And I know that that's affecting a lot of people. And we're missing the familiarity of being at work. Now, I've been very fortunate that I've worked from home almost my entire career. So to be honest, the pandemic hasn't really changed my work life very much because I've always worked from home. But I do know that there are a lot of people who they're used to going into the office and they really thrive on going into the office every day and being able to sit with people and talk to people. And not being able to do that. Hi, Lynn. Thank you for joining today. So as I was saying, this is Conversations with Catherine, and this is how loss affects us. And we're talking today about missing what's familiar. So we were just talking about the pandemic and what you might be missing. So let me know, Lynn, what are you missing most about being sort of shut in during this pandemic? And I think the reason why it's so hard is because we crave connections, right? We want to be connected to other, and the connection is sort of really, linking of our lives with other people. And it's harder to do that, I think, when we're not in the physical space with somebody else. And so I think that we need connection. And if we don't have that connection, then we're suffering. And so that feeling of loneliness, the feeling of isolation, I experience it all the time, particularly now during the pandemic. And, I've gone through the stages in life, and tell me if this has happened to you, but, there's times in your life where you want to say, like, I don't need anybody. And we try to tell ourselves that we don't need anybody, but we do. We need people. It's the human condition. So Lynn's saying, part of her creativity and her inspiration comes with, being in the presence of some other people. Good morning, Deb. How are you? Now, what's interesting, Deb, we're talking about, missing what's familiar. And Deb and I have this amazing friendship, and we've been friends for a long time, and we've only physically been together, I think, in the same room a couple of times. But I think we have to work harder, at the connection, and we talk all the time about how great it would be, Deb. Wouldn't it be amazing to just be able to sit down and share a coffee? So we all want to be lone wolves, and it would be easier if we could all be a lone wolf, but unfortunately, that's not the way life works. So anyway, so the point that I was trying to make is we crave connection. We thrive when we have enough connection. If we don't have enough connection, then we suffer. And the suffering causes us pain. And so I think that's why this particular time is a little bit more challenging for all of us, because we're not getting the connection. So let me tell you about Netflix. Has anybody else been binging on Netflix? The thing I love about Netflix, and it's so funny thinking back on, when I was in high school, and, we used to wait for the episode to come out each week, and now we can binge watch Netflix, right? And I just love the being able to next one. I don't know, there's something relaxing about it. And I'll put it on and I'll do stuff around my house. So it's not like I'm sitting there for hours. But anyways, I digress. So I've been watching this show called Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. So if you've been watching this, please let me know. And if you're a guy and you're listening to this and you're saying to yourself, oh my God, I would never watch a show like that. I think that the show is I think it offers a really good male perspective as well, because we want to believe that we're all different, but the reality is we're all kind of the same. We respond to things similarly. It's the human condition, and we're really not that different. And that's why when I'm talking about grief inspired and when I'm talking about loss, yes, there are things where, everybody says everyone's life is unique, and that's absolutely true, but there's a lot of commonalities and there's a lot of threads that go through things. And so I think that those are the things that really connect us. So Lynn, if you haven't started watching it, go ahead. There's a couple seasons. I'm in the second season, I think. Really good characters, really good actors. And it's just good. And what I really like about it, and this is why I'm bringing this up here, is because I'm really in awe of the way the writers write these shows, because they're able to take a very heavy topic like divorce, and they talk about multiple people getting divorced at the same time. These are all girlfriends. They're all like in different stages of divorce. But they take a really difficult topic and they bring a little bit of levity to it. They wrap it in comedy. But there's a realism around it that I think is really, I think it's amazing. And so I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's this one episode where it's like they're fighting back and forth. They try to get back together and they're fighting back and forth. And I'm like, oh my God, that was our conversation. Oh, Deb, I'm glad you watched it and you loved all the seasons. So don't tell me what's going to happen next. I'm so excited. But anyways, the point I was making is, I'm really in awe. And I think that, none of us believe when we get married that we're ever going to get divorced. I know I was certainly like, yeah, that's not just happening for me. I'm never going to get divorced. But, sometimes life happens. And the reality is that 50% of us are going to get divorced, and maybe that's going up. I don't know. I haven't looked at the recent statistics, but that's kind of morbid. Going in it, walking down the aisle thinking, well, I have a 50% chance of getting through this. So Lynn's asking about grief and is it messy and complicated and includes humor. I don't think that grief is funny. That's not the point I'm making. What I'm saying is that in order for there to be a conversation around heavy topics, we need to be light. We need to have some levity because there's plenty of feeling sad. There's plenty of heavy emotions of grief. And so, my role is to really encourage people, or what I'm trying to do here in the world is to get people talking about it. And nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about loss. Nobody wants to talk about death. Nobody wants to talk about the grief that ensues after death or what true mourning is. But the reality is that there's so many people who are suffering in silence right now. And I think that it's a way that we can talk about it. And I think that TV shows are doing a lot better job of paralleling some of the real emotions and showcasing, what goes on. This Is Us is another show that if you've watched, there's a lot of heavy emotion in that. And I think they do a really good job of bringing it to light, but not having it, leave you feeling awful, right? Nobody wants to watch a TV show and feel awful at the end. You want to feel better. You want to feel uplifted. So I think that's what I'm trying to do with the conversation. All of the support groups that I have with people, or anytime I talk one-on-one with someone, I really want them to leave the conversation feeling lighter, less heavy, because no one should grieve alone, right? That's my tagline. And so just being in that connectivity with someone else should, if it's an understanding kind of connection, should really leave us feeling lighter. And like you said, I think it's to give us a freedom to be in the pain, to be depressed, to be missing the people we love. And I think that's a good thing. Right? Just to do, let's do it together. Life is hard, right? There's so much that we're going through. So anyways, circling back to to my divorce, it was really, you know, the thing of it is that one of the hardest things about getting divorced, and there's tons of things that are hard about divorce, and if you're in the middle of it, I'm sorry, I promise it's going to get better. But I have shared custody with my 7-year-old, and there's something very, and I haven't really figured it all out, but I've been reflecting on it. And when I have to drop off my son at his dad's and then come home to an empty house where I'm used to having him here, it's hard. And it's very different than just dropping him off at school. It's like missing his presence, and it's like relinquishing responsibility for him. When he's at school, I'm still responsible for him. When he's playing with a friend, I'm still responsible for him. But when I've basically, you know, when he's with his dad, I feel like I've lost all of that. And, you know, I've been reflecting on it and thinking, you know, why does it make me feel so crazy? And why is it so hard? And I don't think it's being alone, but I think that it's very reminiscent of when, you know, of the trauma that I've experienced with my own grief, right? So in my situation, when I had my first son, I have these images of leaving the hospital in a wheelchair, and he wasn't with me. And the reason why he wasn't with me is because he was being transported to the NICU at a hospital that was better equipped to take care of him. And so I felt lost. I had that same feeling like when I come home without my son. It's uneasy, and it's panicky, and it's like something in the world is not right. Like it shouldn't be this way. And when we miss the people that we love, I think that it feels like it shouldn't be this way. And it feels like the world that we know and the world that we expected, it just isn't right. And, you know, 6 weeks after I left that hospital in a wheelchair, I left the next hospital, and again without my son, because he had passed away. And it just, I'm so focused on like, this just doesn't seem right. And when we miss the people that we love, we miss the familiarity, we just miss having them in our lives. Oh, I like that. I like that, Lynn. You're saying it's unsafe. It does. It makes us feel unsafe. Like it's not, like something's wrong. So here's the interactive part for the video. Here's a question I have for you is, have you ever sort of left someone, either someone who's passed on, or someone that you knew you weren't going to see for a time, or, you know, when you had to walk away and you get that feeling like in the pit of your stomach that you're like, this just doesn't feel right. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, you know, what was that? And what happened? And I am assuming that it caused you to feel a little lost, to miss them. Tell me what that's like. I want to know what kind of situations you've had, so that I know that this is resonating. And again, we miss what's familiar, and you know, and when we lose the people we love, we miss them. We miss them all the time. And we know that we're never going to see them again. And that's heavy, Lynn. That's what I'm talking about with the heavy. Ugh. But why? Why is it heavy, and why is it so hard? And it's because, you know, the people that we love and the people that we miss, or even the things that we miss from our day-to-day lives, that's what's familiar. And again, we need that connection. We need the connection with ourselves and saying, this is what's normal for me. We need the connection with other people. And it's scientifically proven that we cannot live without connection, right? And there's been tons of research on it. No one is an island. I've tried multiple times to be an island. Anybody else want to be? I know, Deb, you mentioned lone wolf. Like, has anybody else tried to be a lone wolf? I think life would be a lot easier. Oh, Lynn, we should talk more. We should talk more, because loss of infants and miscarriages and babies is so hard. So I know what that's like. So let's have a conversation sometime. Okay, so I'm a little like off track here, and I don't know where I'm going, but I love the comments. I love that you guys are weighing in, and it's super insightful for me, and I love hearing what you guys have to say. Oh, here it is I was dealing in my support group, and I routinely ask questions to see what's going on with people in the group, and I had posed the question there and said, what do you miss the most about the person that you've lost? And this one woman said that she missed her husband. He had passed on, and she said, I really just miss being able to talk to him. I wish I could talk to him. And she said, I can't believe that he's gone, and I can't believe that I'll never get to talk to him again. Does anybody else know what that feels like? I mean, again, this is a shared human condition. If there's somebody that you're missing, let me know. Put their name in the comments. Say yes in the comments, whatever you feel like. Whatever you feel like. But sometimes we just miss that we could pick up our phone and we could call them. And sometimes we forget that they're gone, right? Wanting to be able to pick up the phone and give them a call, or hoping, when you hear the door close, that maybe that's them walking in the front door, or something happens and you want to tell them something. And I think it's even worse when it's, the things that you shared privately, jokes and things that, that are really private and intimate and no one else would get. So you can't really even share them with anybody else, because they're not going to really get it, because it's shared. But yes, the blend of emotions is something that's always really attracted me, and I want to learn more about it. So Lynn, like you're saying, having the sadness and the frustration in combination with the joy and the love with holding your baby, but then that baby not surviving is there's such a dichotomy there. It just, how can you feel both emotions at the same time, and all of these emotions wrapped up? And I think that that's very reminiscent of, the grief condition, is that you feel all torn up, and you feel like, I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm feeling, because you can be feeling multiple emotions all at the same time. But I think the message that I want to leave with you and with others is that, you're not alone. That this feeling and these emotions and the confusion and the frustration and the resentment and all of those things, we all know what those are like. And there are people here that can share them with you. And so what I try to do, Deb, I love that you say, you even miss the arguments, right? You miss fighting with the person. I just wish we could have another fight. And holding him, and right. And we all sort of hang on, what would you give if you could see your loved one one more time, right? What would you be willing to give up if that was even possible? So the point of all of this here is I really want you to know that you're not alone, that we're in this together. I try to provide an opportunity to be able to share about the people that you're missing, about the things that are changing in the world, so that we can connect a little bit more, so that we can communicate better, and understand that we aren't lone wolves, and we are in this together, and that none of us should have to do this life alone. We shouldn't have to grieve alone. We shouldn't have to do life alone. So again, when it comes to, think about other people, think about the people in your life. Is there anybody in your life who might be feeling lonely, who might be missing what's familiar? And if you can think of those people, and if anybody's coming to your mind right now, I'd like to encourage you to reach out to them somehow. And it's with a phone call, it's with a text message. Just to reach out, because if you're thinking they might be lonely, they probably are. And I think that, there's times when we miss the people that we love and there's nothing we can do about it, right? We don't have the opportunity to just see them one more time. But what we do have is the ability to reach out to someone else who might be hurting, who might be earlier on in the process of loss, someone who might be just feeling lonely because they can't get out of the house, or they haven't gone out of the house, particularly anybody who's high risk, right? Those people are really isolating themselves and not leaving their houses at all. And then thinking about all the people who are hospitalized, and it hurts my heart to think of the people who, are essentially dying alone in a hospital because of the virus and because other people can't be there with them. And that's just, it's heart-wrenching. It really, really is. And again, sometimes we want to avoid this stuff and we don't want to think about it because it's, but I think it's important to think about it because it is happening to people that you love, if it's not happening to you. So I want to leave you with 2 quotes to ponder. And I don't know if you've heard these. If you heard these before, Deb, let me know. And here's a quote from Yupi Kaur. So it's R-U-P-I. Kaur is K-A-U-R. And the quote says, "You are everywhere except here, and it hurts." Meaning when you're missing the person that you love, they're kind of everywhere. Everything around you reminds you of that person, right? And they're everywhere, but they're not here with you. And that hurts. And so I thought that was a really good, I like that quote. And here's another one. "It's hard to forget someone who gave you so much to remember." And I really like that one too. So if there's someone you can reach out to, this is what I want to leave you with today. If there's someone that you can reach out to them, connect, ask if they're okay, just check in to say hi. It doesn't have to be for a reason. There doesn't have to be a purpose, and this can be people you work with. It can be anybody. Just reach out and connect. And if you're missing someone that you've lost, I want to encourage you to honor them today by speaking their name. Leave a post here, comment and say, "This is who I'm missing. This is why I'm missing. This is what's going on," right? You can leave it here. Other people would love to see, for example, Deb, you posting about, Michael. Leave a comment because he brought so much to your world. And Carol, if you're watching this, your husband, I know he brought so much into your world, and it's hard not to have him there. But I think that together we can be connected and we can lighten that pain a little bit, and learn how to go on without them day after day. So loss affects us. Loss affects us all. And so I want you to think on those things and let me know how loss is affecting you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on more topics. So I'm kind of coming up with these, as my life unfolds. So let me know if there's something specific that would be helpful. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for watching How Loss Affects Us. Thank you for your contributions today to the conversation. Thank you for being here with me. And I can't wait to do this again. I really can't. So again, my name's Catherine McNulty. This is How Loss Affects Us. And I want to just say thank you. Thank you for sharing the time with me. Have a great day today. We'll see you next week.